I'm sitting here in Port Elizabeth and I'm sitting with the CEO of Just Property. Just Property is a leading property services company here in South Africa, also in Namibia, and I'm sitting with the CEO, Paul Stevens. Okay, Paul, so this whole brand stretches really wide. I mean, you've got over 100 franchises nationwide. You're in Namibia, I understand you're expanding to Zimbabwe. I mean, you've come a long way through this. I've actually, walked a path with you and I've seen the company change. It's very exciting. Just elaborate about that whole going forward and the message to the franchises, because they've also walked a path with you as well.
Yeah, I think some incredibly exciting changes. As you all know, we're going to present the brand to you. We've presented it to the franchisees already. And I think it's a momentous occasion for us as a company. We've gone through incredible change. And it's on the back of adversity. As a group, we've definitely come through some challenging times in the last few months from a technological point of view, where we've had little slips. And I'd like to thank the group as a whole and all the personnel for the support they've given us. They've supported us 100%. And in particularly our advisory council. We formed a franchise advisory council last year. And much of this brand relaunch and our new strategy, we've walked hand in hand with them. So they've played a big part in this. It's not just been us from a head office perspective making this decision, it's been us together. And I think that's very much a common message that I'll put out to all of you, is that we're in this together. Our success is a success of a group and as a group of people together, all 800 personnel that work across the country. I'd like to thank all of them for the support and the guidance that we've had from you with regards to this change. And it's really exciting, this change that we've got and the brand that's coming.
Paul, tell us a little bit about Just Property. You're going through a bit of a transformation in terms of your brand. Give us the reasons, first of all, what you're doing and why.
Right. Just Property is our new brand. We come from a former past of being a very recognized household brand, formerly known as Just Letting. That was our big brand. And I think somewhat of the path that we've followed falls back on the complexity of where we come from, having been this descriptive brand of being positioned as only a letting agency. And as the market started to turn in 2007, 2008 in the real estate market, we realized that our existence was in somewhat of a threat and that we needed to change our positioning and move into a greater real estate offering, where we embarked on commercial and real estate sales. And with that, having the complexity of a descriptive name of Just Letting, we continued to add other Just Commercial, Just Residential under a brand called Just Property Group. And this has formed somewhat of a confusion, I would say, in the marketplace and within ourselves. And the time has come to evolve and to create some sort of conformity and clarity and reposition ourselves. And I think we've reached a point now where we're making that bold move, rebranding ourselves to Just Property. And there's a whole logic in it, and that we're wanting to reposition ourselves in the property market and take a different approach to property to what other players are in the property market.
Just Letting was a very powerful brand and a property manager and a leading property manager here in South Africa. Isn't there a little bit of risk now that you're putting it all under the Just Property banner?
I think we've already started making the move, Neale, where we formed Just Property Group, which was our holding company, and many of our offices have already undergone a rebrand several years ago of trading under Just Property Group. And I don't believe that that's had any consequences and a drop in business to our letting business or threat to our letting business. The move that we've made has been somewhat bold and refreshing, and that it's not just that we've gone through a slight evolution like many brands have done. Coca-Cola, Mercedes, a lot of them have gone through a slight evolution. I think almost every brand does. We've made almost a metamorphosis where we've changed completely, but the association is still there. So the Just Property looks very much like the Just Letting previous brand. It's a clean, modern brand. But I think the association is still there. So people will still associate the two. and realized that we're not a whole new company. We are still the same company. We pride ourselves with the same level of service. We have the same team. It's just we're trading under a new, fresh brand, and that's our new positioning at the same time.
Okay, Paul, so talk a little bit about going forward now, this new branding. Tell us a little bit about it. What does it represent? What's the positioning?
Yeah, very exciting. We've just launched it to all our franchisees. It's been under wraps since July last year. We've been working on this with a brand strategy company, which was then passed on to a marketing company. So a lot of work and thought has gone into this brand, whereas before we've had complexities. We've come from what I explained earlier, this metamorphosis that's created a lot of unease amongst us as personnel within our offices and franchise network. But this move is a bold move, as I said, and we're now making a change, and it's been implemented within our franchise network. And it's not just the change of a brand, it's a change of our direction that we're taking as a company and as a strategy in approaching the real estate market. And where we're wanting to position ourselves is not just a real estate company letting property, selling property, but more positioning ourselves as a wealth creation company using property as our tool to enabling people to wealth.
If we look at your new brand, we see you've got a very distinct mapping pin, which is clearly there's an online vision going forward.
Absolutely.
So we're sitting here today, 5 years down the track, how we're looking at Just Property. What is your vision, given that everything falls into place?
Well, I think we've always prided ourselves with, I've used the word before, being different. We've taken an innovative approach, I think, to property. We took a market where most of your real estate players didn't want to operate in, which was the residential rentals. And that's where we built ourselves. And now with the new brand and the mapping pin in particular, we believe in being innovators and always being the market leader when it comes to challenging certain norms in the property market. And that's what we're wanting to do with our new vision and strategy with the wealth creation. We're taking the property market from a different angle and empowering people through property. And we're going to use technology to enhance that as much as possible.
Let's talk about your catchphrase, let's open doors. Talk a little bit about that.
Right, well, it fits within the wealth creation strategy. Life is about give and take. And I believe we've got to have certain values in life of giving people things and giving back to society. And the phrase that we've come up with as our strapline, let's open doors, it's part of that wealth strategy. We're opening doors for people. We're bringing them in from a tenancy. We're going to educate them in wealth and how to create wealth for themselves. So yes, we're going to be opening doors for people and giving people opportunities.
So Paul, elaborate a little bit on this wealth creation part of the business.
Right, when we say the wealth creation, I think it's a journey that we're going to be unfolding, where we take care of a multitude of different clients. And being a property management company, much of that emphasis is on the one side. We've got a lot of tenants that are coming out of previously disadvantaged areas, and they becoming tenants in the cycle of property. We've got, on the other hand, investors that own those properties. And we're seeing there's such a demand in South Africa for people to actually own property. You know, to become wealthy or to actually acquire something like an asset, many people are out there being fooled into unit trusts or certain investments with big investment houses that we won't name today. But at the end of their days when they retire, they're left with very little, if anything. And my personal experience, and I think yours, Neale, you know that property is the key to wealth. And a long-term strategy in property is definitely something that's going to create wealth for you. So we believe our position and our responsibility as a company is to empower people through property and to educate people in property ownership. So part of this journey is to walk that walk with people. So to take people that don't understand property and educate them in property ownership. Instead of being a tenant, let's hold your hand and walk you into owning your first property. And a lot of investors that we have, that we manage properties for, instead of owning 1 or 2 properties, let's educate you on owning more properties. So working towards a retirement plan with you. So we've got a strategy of what we're wanting to follow to walk this path as a company and holding hands And I believe through this wealth creation journey, we're going to be building clients for life. And that's the intention, is to form a relationship and connect with our clients right through their life cycle.
Education is key. I think especially if you're going to that particular market. How do you plan to roll this out? Is it online? Is it live? Seminars, courses? How do you plan to do that?
Well, I think there's going to be a combination of both. We're in the process, and this year is going to be our year of rolling all this out. So in conjunction with yourself and Real Estate Investor, we are looking at live seminars, but as we all know, online is where everything is happening. So the intention is to move a lot of it online. You've got far more flexibility from a timing perspective. People don't often have time to go and attend seminars.
Sure.
People working and living in remote areas can't attend things that are in big cities or the urban areas. So by doing things online, you've got access to far more people, and you can have reach that you can never have via your traditional seminars. So yes, much of this education is going to have to take place online.
Paul, also the importance of training. I know you've always put the importance of that at all your franchises as well. Maybe you want to elaborate about that. I know we spoke a little bit about the wealth creation and seminars and that kind of stuff, but let's talk about the offices. What are your thoughts on going forward, on training and mentorship and that kind of stuff going forward?
I think, like you, Neale, I've always been a person that's believed that we need to continuously educate ourselves. The day you stop learning is the day you start dying. Mm-hmm. And we need to carry that through to all of us, and it starts really with the leaders. Mm-hmm. If we're not learning and pushing ourselves to develop, then we can't expect it without pulling the whole ranks up. So very much the focus this year is going to be on the franchisees, the leaders in the business, and developing them to be true strong leaders and people that can ensure growth in their business. I think all of us realize the potential in our business, but it's now converting that into reality and actually making our businesses what they really can be.
And you've got a positioning statement for that. It's let's connect, that's internally. Mm-hmm. Externally, it's let's open doors. Just elaborate on that. And the connection. Because it's about people at the end of the day. It's a people business.
Yeah, the Let's Connect is, we've come up with themes. Last year we had a theme, Wow, which was very much based around impressing your clients and customer service. And really what we're trying to do is, I believe our company's never really had a culture. And I think for the first time we're trying to form these pillars of pulling everyone together with a common thread and a common understanding of where we're trying to go and what we're trying to create here, and that unification. So the intention is not to write off the theme of the previous year of Wow. We've got to keep that thread of customer service running, because I do believe that's the only thing that really differentiates you in this market and this type of industry, is customer service. And then beyond that, if you've really got good customer service, you're forming relationships. And you're building relationships for life. And that's where Let's Connect comes from. Mm-hmm. And I make a commitment from myself and my team at head office that we're here to connect with our franchisees and their staff, and to ensure that that filters through, that our franchisees are connecting with us and at the same time connecting with their staff, and that filters down to the staff connecting and building relationships out in the marketplace with their clients.
Paul, thank you very much for the opportunity. It's really exciting times ahead for the Just Property Group.
Yeah, I look forward to some wonderful years, and thank you very much, Neale, for your time too.
Pleasure.
Thanks, Neale.
Thanks.